Hi, this is Caleb Lindsay again. This is going to be my week 5 assignment for FTE 211, and today's date is August 29th, 2025. So, before we get into anything else today, we're going to go ahead and clear our firearm, right? So, first I'll remove the feed source. Nothing there. We'll go ahead and lock the slide to the rear, and we will visually and physically inspect, make sure there's nothing in the chamber. There's not, so we're clear. So part one, the first thing they want us to do is go ahead and do a dry functions check. Okay, so in dry functions check, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cock the firearm. I'm going to put the firearm in safe. Okay, so I'm going to want to do two things: check the functionality of my safeties and my fire control group. Okay, so first things first, thumb safety. Should be able to pull the trigger now and nothing happens, which doesn't. Then I'm going to take my thumb safety off without depressing the grip safety. Again, nothing happens, right? So then I'm going to go ahead and depress the grip safety and my hammer should fall. And we're good. Okay, so that is our dry functions check. Next, we'll go ahead and do the dummy rounds. Okay, so what I'll do is with a magazine with my snap caps or dummy rounds, go ahead and put those in there. And now I'm basically going to do the same thing, but I'm going to go through the cycle of operations and make sure that my dummy rounds are actually being fed, chambered, make sure everything is locking the way it's supposed to. I'm going to also make sure that everything is being extracted and ejected correctly, and then we'll end up going all the way back to cocking where we're at right now. So so we've got our snap caps in there, so we'll go ahead and I'm not going to be gentle with this. I'm going to go roughly as fast as I can to simulate the firearm's actual cycle of operations, right? So right here, so I know now that we have a snap cap chambered, so we're going to make sure that we can go through the cycle of operations and it still eject. Okay, so we're cocked, we're ready, so fire, yep, and then we're going to extract and eject, yep, that's gone, and we'll go again, okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to keep pressure on my trigger here to get through the reset. Okay, so fire, extract, eject, and reset. All right, we're good. So that is my snap cap functions check, and then I'll talk about the I'll do the actual test fire here right after this. So in our test fire with live ammunition, we're testing for the same thing, making sure that the firearm actually gets all the way through all of the cycle of operations. Okay? In our lecture, one of the things that they brought up is good practice for a test fire would be to do a live round, then a snap cap, and then another live round. And the reason for this is so we don't accidentally create like a runaway gun kind of situation. It's a safety thing. So when you're doing your live fire and you're basically inspecting the firearm as it goes through the cycle of operations, you should be expecting to fire the first round. Nothing happened on the second round, and then you'd have to get that out of there, and then fire the third round. And then once you've made it through all 3 rounds, your slide should be locked to the rear, and that should be your live fire or your test fire. All right, then we'll go on to section 2. In this portion, we were asked to basically assess the feel of our trigger, right? I've already replaced the actual trigger and kind of messed with like just a couple little things just to see what I can do. Nothing out of the scope of our classes so far yet, but I really like the feel of these triggers. If you're looking at this, I do have the hammer back. It is cocked, so I want to go through like the take-up weight, right? So you're going to get a little bit of movement before you hit the wall, which is basically your sear, right? So just a little bit of take up, not very much at all on these things. I don't even know if you can really see that on the camera much, okay? But just a little bit of take up. And then I haven't measured like the actual trigger weight on this, but it's not that much. Let me squeeze down on that. There we go. So then you get your actual pull. Okay, not much movement there, and then your reset. Okay, still not much. I actually really like the feel of any 1911, really. At least if I'm comparing it to a like striker fired pistol. I feel like there's less movement. It's smoother. It's more crisp. It's just I like all this way more. Part 3, we're going to go ahead and measure the length of the barrel. So I've got my cleaning rod right here that we got from school. With the action closed, I'm going to go ahead and insert this into the barrel all the way to the back of against the breech face, and then I'm going to make a mark with a Sharpie, trying not to get the barrel. And I'm not left-handed. Should have thought of that before I set this video up. Okay, got my mark. And then I'm just going to take my ruler here, tape measure, okay, go from the top of that down to my mark. And we are sitting almost exactly 5 inches, so this is a 5-inch barrel. So for part 4 of this, I'm going to go ahead and get my barrel twist rate. The setup that I've got right now is my cloth, jag on the end of my cleaning rod, and I've got this tape up here acting as a flag starting at 12 o'clock. So I'm going to push in, should rotate towards the camera. We'll see how far it rotates. We'll measure how far it went in, and then we get to do some math and figure out the barrel twist rate. So we'll go in first. Okay, so that was about a 1/4 turn rotation. Go ahead and get this marked right here. Come back out. Okay, so that was about a 1/4 turn rotation back. And then we'll measure. So all I've got is my tape measure right here. So from the top of the jag to where I marked, which is right there. So that's right at about 4 inches. So do 4 times 4, which is going to end up being 16. And then, so that's going to tell me I have a 1 16th twist rate on this barrel. All right, now in part 5, we're going to go ahead and test the heads, or our head spacing in this firearm. Okay, to do that, you have to have your go, no-go gauges. SDI was kind enough to supply us with these. So this is my go gauge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rim of it behind the extractor. Oh my goodness. So the rim right behind the extractor, and then it's going to go into the chamber. Possibly, if I can get this lined up. Okay. So what we're looking for is this right here. Okay, so I've got my go gauge in there right now. It's in the chamber. Notice how we have like no gap between the barrel and this slide. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. It has to be seated correctly. And then next, you would take your no-go gauge, if I can unlock that. Okay, then put your no-go gauge in there, and I'm trying to see if I can get this on camera. And now we've got this little gap. Okay, so now we know it's not seated appropriately. So that's what we're testing for. We're making sure that it actually seats correctly with the go gauge right here. And then we have that little gap with the no. It's going to verify for us that we actually have the appropriate head spacing.